The cafe door chimed softly, but the sound felt thunderous to Arlen as she stepped inside, clutching the sleeves of her pale sweater like it was the only thing keeping her upright. The morning sun spilled through the wide windows, lighting dust particles floating in the air as if the universe itself had paused to watch her take this one terrifying step. She scanned the room, her heartbeat thundering, until her eyes found him, Solon, the quiet single father she had agreed to meet. He sat near the window, sipping water as if trying to calm his own rising nerves. And in that suspended moment, someone could have heard a pin drop as Arlen whispered to herself, "Do I even deserve to be here, after everything?" If you believe in kindness and second chances, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Midnight Reports. Your support helps more stories like this reach the world. Arlen's steps were slow, unsteady, as if each movement required permission from her scars. She had spent years hiding, behind excuses, behind forced smiles, behind layers of self-blame that she didn't even deserve to carry. But when her therapist nudged her to finally try something new, something brave, she ended up agreeing to a blind date. She didn't know that Solon had been sitting in his car outside for 10 minutes before walking in, mustering courage of his own. Widowed at 32, raising his daughter Lyri on his own, he had learned that the calmest faces often carry the deepest storms. When Arlen sat across from him, she tried to keep her hands hidden under the table to hide their tremble, but Solon noticed anyway. Not the tremble itself, but the way she fought to steady herself, to appear composed. That kind of quiet fight was something he understood well. The sun outside brightened, illuminating the curve of her cheek, the thin line of a fading scar near her jaw, and for a moment, he wondered who had let someone so fragile-looking carry so much weight alone. The conversation began slow, sprinkled with awkward pauses and clumsy smiles, but slowly, something softened between them. Solon didn't pry, didn't lean in too close, didn't ask her why she kept glancing at the door like she needed an escape route. Instead, he talked about Lyri, the way she insisted banana pancakes tasted better on Tuesdays, the way she named stray cats after days of the week, and how she once tried to fix sadness by offering people stickers. Arlen laughed quietly, her shoulders relaxing just a fraction, her gaze drifting toward the sunlight as if the warmth was finally reaching her again. But the turning point came when Solon mentioned something unexpected. He told her that he wasn't there to judge her or to figure her out. He said he came because someone had once told him that healing doesn't always require answers, sometimes it requires gentleness. And the moment he said that, Arlen's mask cracked. Her breath faltered. Her lips trembled. That was when she asked it, voice faint but heavy with years of bottled pain. "Do you think I still deserve happiness?" For a moment, Solon didn't breathe. He recognized the question. Not the words, but the desperation beneath them. The same question he had once asked the sky the night his wife passed, when guilt clawed at him like an invisible animal. Arlen didn't look at him as she asked it. She stared at the sunlight on the table instead, afraid of his eyes, afraid of hope, afraid of everything that made her feel too human. The cafe noise faded. Even the clinking cups seemed to still. Solon finally leaned forward, not too close, but close enough that she would feel anchored if the world began spinning again. He told her that happiness wasn't something people earned. It was something they reclaimed, sometimes piece by piece, sometimes painfully slow. He told her that he didn't know her past, but he knew the courage it took to show up that morning, to sit across from a stranger while her hands trembled, while her heart whispered ghosts. And if someone had that kind of courage, then yes, she deserved happiness. Maybe more than most. Arlen's eyes filled, but she didn't cry. She simply inhaled like she hadn't taken a full breath in years. Something inside her shifted, something long frozen beginning to move again. She realized Solon wasn't trying to save her. He wasn't pitying her. He wasn't offering hollow comfort. He was seeing her. And that, more than anything, shook her deeply. Their breakfast stretched into late morning. The cafe brightened with sun. The streets outside grew busier. Yet time inside their small corner felt suspended. Arlen spoke slowly, cautiously, revealing pieces of her past, not everything, just enough. She told him about the relationship that had broken her spirit, a place where love turned into fear, or her voice had been swallowed by someone else's anger. Solon listened without flinching, without trying to patch the pain. His silence was steady, patient, respectful. Later, as they stepped outside into the daylight, the wind carried the scent of blooming marigolds from a nearby shop. Arlen paused, gazing at the flowers, her expression soft with unfamiliar hope. Solon walked beside her, hands in his pockets, offering presents instead of pressure. For the first time in a long while, she didn't feel like she was standing alone. Before they parted ways, Solon gently asked if she might like to meet again, not as a promise, not as an expectation, but as an invitation. Arlen hesitated at first, the old fear flickering. But then she remembered the sunlight on her skin, the warmth in his voice, the way her heartbeat had finally slowed during their conversation. And with a small nod, she whispered yes. Days later, when Arlen met Leary and the little girl handed her a sticker shaped like a bright yellow sun, Arlen felt something bloom inside her chest, something fragile, tender, but undeniably alive. Healing wasn't sudden. It didn't erase her past. But it began to grow, thread by thread, warming places she had long thought unreachable.